From executive producers Brenden Ortiz and Choncy C. Brings to you an LGBTQIA talk show where they express to understand. With hosts like Miss CARTA, Random Thoughts, and RAYDIO RAHEEM.
It's your man, Brandon Thoughts, and you are watching the Response Talk Show, where we express to understand. Tonight, we're discussing gender roles. What is pansexuality versus bisexuality? Sexuality is a challenging concept to define. Many people still disagree on what the basic concept of gender and sexual identity mean. I'm not one of them people, but people do that. And I'm here with my illustrious host. We got the legendary RAYDIO RAHEEM and the lovely, lovely Miss Tia Carter. How are you this evening?
Hey,
How are you, Rob?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm well. I got ready to get into this conversation. Hopefully we're gonna clear some things up. Maybe, maybe not. However, I want to first start off by saying, isn't pansexuality and bisexuality the same thing?
I think on a surface level, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But they are really not the same thing. Pansexuals are more so attracted to energy and vibe and, that type of thing. And bisexuals are, attracted to male and female. I think it probably would all boil down to chemistry and vibe and, who you feel like you want to rock with. But I don't want to sum the conversation up so quick, but I think that all of us are on a spectrum when it comes to sexuality, especially the younger and newer generations. They are more open to express, to understand their sexuality. And that just is what it is. A lot of people are open. One day they feel attracted this way, the next day they feel attracted, that way, and that just is what it is. We are no longer living in a binary society.
For sure, I agree.
For sure.
I definitely agree. In my opinion, I honestly, I don't believe they are the same. To piggyback off of what Tia said, one is male and female, and the other is energy.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely not the same. But for people who are not aware, you know what I mean, they would believe that it is the same.
Now I want to dive in a little bit about the difference between bisexuality, where you said male and female. But first, I do want to agree with you about sexuality and us living in a time where sexuality is, first of all, sexuality has always been on the spectrum. I want it to be very clear. It's always been here. The different types of sexualities that we'll get into later on has always been here. So I do agree with it being a spectrum, and that, of course, the difference is a pansexual might find themselves attracted to someone that might also be gender non-conforming or non-binary, right?
Yes.
So with that being said, do you feel like pansexuality is transphobic?
No.
Or more bisexuality?
No, for me, pansexual would be more embracing of trans people, because people who are pansexual or people who identify as pansexual will be the individuals who are more likely to date a trans person. And you know what, and I even want to take it a step further and say that, a lot of people identify as alternative now.
Right.
There's another thing, we see emerging, and people who identify as alternative, and these are, not to stereotype alternative people, but these are usually people with tattoos and, gauge earrings and, that type of thing. But we are just living in an age where people are more open sexually, and people are really going off of what they are, attracted to. Trey is calling me.
Is that pansexual?
No. But, people are being more open. We are, I think up until this time we've lived in a very binary system. Even trans folk, and Rod, you can attest to this. We have up until recent years, we were transitioning, to one point to another, either male or female.
Right.
There was no in between for us.
No.
But this generation, they are very like in between. A lot of people are, transitioning, and they are comfortable with just being trans. But for our generations, it was a very binary thing. It was from male to female or female to male, like that's just what it was. But at the end of the day, this is what our ancestors fought for us to have the freedom to be all across the board. And we just have to embrace that, and I think the rest of the world will embrace that. And there are so many titles and, pansexual, bisexual, just that people live and like what they like and do what they do.
Right.
You may be, attracted to this one day and that thing the next day. But, but unfortunately, this is my last point on this. Unfortunately, gay men don't have the luxury in that. Lesbians have always had a certain type of luxury with being accepted into heterosexual communities. Because a lesbian could be a hard butch lesbian and live that way for years and years and years. And then she can decide, I want to date cisgender men and have a family and all of that. And her past will be erased and she'll be accepted. But a gay man doesn't have that luxury. A gay man can say, hey, I was gay and I dated men and all of that. Now I want to date women. And women are not that accepting of men who identify as gay or, bisexual or pansexual, and that type of thing.
So how do you guys feel about the titles that are out, like all of these different titles, like, the GNC and this and, and there's a lot of titles to keep up with, and I know it can become confusing for society, you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like it's confusing in the community as well, trying to keep up with the titles, but I know that there are people who don't embrace anything outside of male and female, So how do you guys feel?
Well, with me, I feel one that we put too much power in the hands of people to accept us.
Okay.
So I want to first start there, right? I'm very big on you are who you respond, like who you respond to, who you identify as.
Okay.
So in terms of that, I just feel like people need to stop being so concerned, like, I'm gonna get explicit here from the hood.
Okay.
Who you fuck and who you fuck don't make me come.
Right.
So therefore, I feel like I should only respect you and respect you as, and vice versa as what it is that you identify. Now the titles, I think is something that we do, like it's a memory thing. Like how people feel about nigga, whether it's E-R-A. You understand what I'm saying? Or the F-bomb, the faggot. Like these are terms that at first they're given to us and we're able to champion them and get some adversity from and be like, hey, you know what? This is what we doing, and it's very revolutionary. Black people, more specifically, has always been at the forefront of that, and that's my opinion. That period. That's what I'm.
How about you, Tia?
Identity is a complicated thing for some people. Me as a trans woman, and just speaking from my experience in dating, I have been trans for over a decade, and I can say comfortably that I have not dated men who all the men that I have dated identify as heterosexual.
Okay.
I have not dated men who identify as gay and that sort of thing. But I say that to say, it's about perception and how people feel. Some people will say a man that is interested in me and a man that is dating me is gay. But I challenge that because, I'm a woman. Yes, I am trans, but I live my life a certain way. I am involved in the gay community, but I'm not engulfed,
Right.
in gay community. And as I excel in my transition, my lifestyle and how I live is more identified with that of a heterosexual woman. A lot of times when I am in different atmospheres, people don't even know or recognize that I am trans. So I am living in those moments the experience of a woman who is heterosexual in my work and different things like that. A lot of challenges that I encounter, or because I'm a woman, not because I am trans.
Okay.
So so people like me challenge that norm. For a man to be attracted to me, for someone to say that he's gay when he's looking at me and seeing a woman and not even realizing that I'm trans, that doesn't make him gay. And if I get to know him beyond that and I, disclose that I am trans and all that, and he's still attracted to me, society gives us a lot of things. It's like they don't want us to date, men who identify as heterosexual, but then gay men are not really attracted to, trans women, so it's like, what are the options? Who do I date? You know what I'm saying? If like we have like Lambda, and I love Lambda,
yes.
and I was just speaking to Charles, one of the owners, recently. But it's like in those types of spaces, are people like me totally comfortable? These are spaces that gay men go to engage with each other. Yeah, trans people go into those spaces and we are accepted and welcomed, but these are not ideal spaces for us. So I'm saying all of that to say, when we get back to dating and who we're attracted to and all of that, the spectrum opens up.
Yes, it does.
Because if I'm, a woman and I'm living my life as a woman and men are seeing me as this beautiful, type of woman. I really recognize that lately. Like, I had a guy who was trying to talk to me recently, and he was like, you like giving me this ultra feminine type of supermodel type of, these are the women that I desire to be with. So a lot of times, men who identify as heterosexual love the ultra femininity of trans women and the aesthetic of trans women and that type of thing. Does that make them gay?
No. Well, in my opinion, no.
No, it does not.
First of all, identity, the root in identity is I, so it's what I want. Let's start there. Like, that's how I feel like when it comes to anything that's any form of identity, it's I. I don't think that the person identifies as gay because their attraction and their allure is because they see a woman, or and vice versa, they see a man. So for those that are on a spectrum that only thinks of male and female, when they see you, they're not saying, oh, that's a very, very feminine man. You understand what I'm saying? That's a woman, and I'm attracted to her.
Right.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong.
Which happens to be trans.
Yeah.
Right, just so happen, right, on the trans experience, just so happen, right.
But at the same time, we do have people who fetishize trans people and are interested only because the person is trans, whether they be a trans woman or trans man. I feel like we are some of the most fetishized people. Because I feel like when people look at us and when people consider us and versus anyone else, they immediately go to our genitals and what we're attracted to.
Yes.
It's so like that with trans people.
Stop doing that, people. Stop doing that. PSA, please stop doing that.
It's really annoying.
It's really annoying. All right, when I first meet you, I'm not wondering, who's your mother, what your ding-a-ling size. I don't ask you that. So why, when you meet people of trans experience, the first thing is to go to, what they are atomically, or like,
I think it's more so they're like shocked, like they can't believe, because I'm not gonna lie, when I came out in the 90s and I was first introduced to people of trans experience, you couldn't tell me that that's what that was. I was like, you lying.
Mm-hmm.
That's a what? Nah. So I understand, but I didn't sexualize them. I just was more so like, wow, like wow. It was like that for me. So I think it's more so the person's mentality.
Okay. So you feel like it starts with an interest?
Yeah, it starts with interest and then it goes into,
okay.
Let me ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you all feel that sex work is so prevalent within the LGBTQIA community?
Well, personally, I think for me, sex work is so prevalent and not as incidental is because of who we are and how people perceive that we live our life, that job or career opportunities, if we don't create them ourselves, are not always there for us. So we kind of capitalize on the fetishizism that we spoke of in the last topic and use that in order to gain an income so that we're able to go places in which we need to be so that we can open up, hopefully not gatekeep, and open up other doors for other people. That's why I think it's really so prevalent. I don't have any more information on why not, but to me, from what I know, that's why I see that. Right.
But wait a minute, the second part of that, let me ask you this. So if our community is so demonized and, all of these things is negative, why is sex work in our community still thriving? If we are these people that people don't want to see, and they taking away our rights and all of that, but sex work within the community is still popping.
Well, it is because actually it has, to me, that field has grown because of the internet. It has allowed people to have, it has opened other doors and resources, so to speak, for people who do sex work. So that is why it is to me, that's why it's still thriving, because it has, that's my one thing I'll say, it has, that field of work has definitely grown.
Not only that, one, sex sells, right?
And sex sells.
So
That's another
what
thing.
you,
Yes,
what
sex
you
definitely
do
sells.
in secrecy, like that's a whole nother addiction sometimes, right? Despite the substances that we do know out there, what you consume is what you become, right? You are what you eat.
Yeah.
So if you secretly are having these lusts, these thirsts, these moments of trying to and capture somebody because they're different, or they caught my eye, or they're attractive, you're going to indulge in that by any means necessary, right? Just like if you're going to get your fix of drug, right? You're going to get it by any means necessary. And I think that's also why it's thriving. It's still a secret. To some people, it's still taboo. Although the spectrum has opened up, we see people are now coming out. We see, Rebel Wilson dating the woman, Janelle Monáe, but we're still seeing people do things in secrecy. I always think that the money is in the secrecy.
So, speaking of coming out, recently we've had less notable. Wayne Brady, came out and identified as pansexual. We have had 4 from Black Ink to come out, and I don't want to even say so much come out, but come out with his sexual life and what he likes and, this type of thing. Lately on social media there has been a lot of talk around men who identify as heterosexual who are into being pegged and, things like this. And we can go on and on. For his wife had comments about, different things. And without even getting into all of that, what do you all think we are seeing with people who are identifying as heterosexual and saying, hey, I'm into XYZ, type of thing. What is the need to come out to say, hey, this is what I want and what I'm into? Why are these people seeking this freedom? For me, they're seeking freedom.
Okay.
Because when you expose yourself, and no one else could, so that's just my perspective. It's a seeking of freedom. But for you all, why are we seeing a rise in individuals coming out or exposing their sexual lives or what they do behind closed doors? How do you all, why do you feel we're seeing a lot of this?
There's a whole, supposedly there's like this gay agenda going on, right? And they're pushing that agenda. But I do believe that, like as Tia said, that people are looking for freedom. I do agree on that, but I do believe there is an agenda, and that is why it is being, you're seeing more of it. There's celebrities who, for years, they would never say what it is going on with them. And now, look at it. It's just like, hey, oh, this is me. And you got to pay attention to why. Look at, even with Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? That whole Renaissance thing. You know what I mean? She created a safe space for the community. In all these years, she's never done that. You know what I'm saying? So I pay attention to, like, I go beyond and thinking, like, what's going on here? Like, why y'all making it such a, a okay thing for everybody to be coming out now saying, oh, I'm this or I'm that. You know what I mean? But I do believe there's an agenda, but for sure, a fight for freedom.
I'm gonna agree to disagree about the agenda part. I think what happens is that there are more people in the world who identify as different things.
Yeah.
And as they identify as different things, you come out and do want a freedom and do want to say, this is who I am and this is how I want to live my life. I want to second that by also stating that I felt like the more the image of what people think. At first, we watched on Black Ink for how many seasons. He went through his depression. He had his girlfriend. He is masculine presenting. And for someone like him to come out and say, hey, well, I like to do this sexually. And my girls, it was another guy who was like, I forgot his name. I can't think of his name right now. He was like a freak on OnlyFans during the pandemic. And then he ended up doing some things and everybody was like, calling him gay. Or he's bisexual because of what it is he likes to.
I think I recall.
I don't know if I recall that.
It was a video surfaced of like two white guys in
right.
a fellatio.
Yeah, that's performing oral sex.
Yeah.
Right, there you go. So if people are not, I think these stories help for people to start understanding the spectrum, right? Because of what is presented. I don't necessarily think it's an agenda because I never agree with a black agenda. I just think black people are the majority of the world. I don't agree with a gay LGBTQIA agenda. I think that people are more now living in the truth because everything is so quick now. It's microwave.
And the internet.
Right, because of the internet, we're getting things so quickly.
The internet is what's helping.
You mentioned Wayne Brady, right? Something happened on people that.
Right, yeah. He just feel like, and I think like a lot of these people are past a point in their career where they can talk about these things now. Wayne Brady is at a point in his career, like he's done all he could do. He's, so he's saying, hey, this is who I am. And I think on the flip side of that, a lot of people have, secret desires and things that they feel. And I think that a lot of people identify with the LGBTQIA community more than what they say. Like that's why there's a lot of support and people would rather categorize themselves as allies because they see the scrutiny and they see the hate and they see the things that we get. So instead of them aligning with us and having that type of solidarity, they would rather identify as allies and show support like that because they cannot handle or don't want to deal with the same type of things that we go through. But I think that a lot of people sit back and, even the most straight up straight guys, even if it's something even on a level of the type of porn he watches, he may have not had a same-sex experience or an experience with a trans person, but he may be extremely turned on by transgender porn. So people are opening up and people are identifying and people are saying, hey, I am turned on and I see these trans girls. I even noticed that within my transition, like each summer, guys that wouldn't say shit to me last summer
gradually
is saying something.
Yeah.
And I think that people see that because they start to, we're dehumanized to them, but once they start to see us on a consistent basis, they start to humanize us.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing for myself and my own personal experience, men who I have seen consistently are starting to embrace me in a different way. And I think that they are removing the fact that I am trans and they are seeing me as a woman and they are seeing me as an additional possibility for someone for them to date and, you know, all of these things. I think, and we're going to move on to the next point, but I think that people are just being more open, you know, to what they are. And sexy is sexy and attractive is attractive. When you see a big, tall, beautiful bitch like me, and I'm like, it's, you know, I'm not just like trying to like, no, but it's not like, no, when I walk out my house and I walk on my block, like, I notice people noticing me, you know, so, yeah, and they're not looking at me, you know, in a way they're looking at me like, this bitch is bad, her ass is fat, and like, and that's what it is, and we have to, you know, kind of recognize that.
That's what what we talking about here is like attraction.
Yes.
So,
which doesn't, because you're attracted to someone, it doesn't mean you always want to have sex with them either.
Right.
You know, you could be attracted to the way that they walk or the way that they talk. You could be attracted to their energy, you know. So attraction doesn't always mean that you want to sleep with the person, but you just, it's something about them that you want to connect with, you know what I'm saying?
Did you guys get a chance to see, there was something on our social media where there was two maybe straight guys and they were asked, would they rather have a whore as a daughter or have a son that is gay?
Okay.
And they went into this discussion, I don't know if you guys saw it, I'll share it with y'all later.
Okay.
And they went into this discussion and both guys agreed that they'd rather have the gay son because they at least know, so based on media, you know, they know their son, who they're gonna like, you know, what they're attracted to, what they're seeing more in both in the whole LGBTQI thing is that we have relationships and we have long-term relationships and we're not trying to fuck every other being on the earth that's just walking around, right? And he was like, well, with the whore daughter, I don't know what kind of, you know, baby father she's gonna have. I might have to shoot him. I might have to end up in jail. So just to see somebody, just like maybe 10 years ago, where they would be like, oh, no homo, get that shit out of here.
Right.
To now being like, no, I'd rather have the gay son.
Yeah, I saw that.
You
He
see,
did
so,
say that. He said, I'd rather have a gay son. Yeah, and I was like, wow, like,
You know, but I've seen
that's how you
that,
know we in new time.
I've seen that question a lot, and usually that's changing. That mean that there's a shift because usually they would like, you know, in the past I've seen that they like, no, I don't want the gay son. I would say all the time, like I've had cousins and different things who have went to jail and all of that stuff, and they get out of jail and they have big parties and they're celebrated. It's like to be gay or to be trans is the worst thing you could do. If you come out to your parents saying that I'm gay, like they're crying and acting like it's you know, the end of the world. But we're starting to be more, and people are starting to see us past our sexuality. I think that our community, our sexuality has just like been on our shoulders, and people have not been able to see us beyond our sexuality. And I feel like we are heightened sexual beings. Like a sexual experience with me is phenomenal.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna like get off of that, but
I'm trying to tell people.
It is what it is.
No,
what it
but
is.
there is, because there's a lot of energy there. You know, I even hear a lot of heterosexual women say that they like to watch gay porn, but that's no different than a heterosexual man liking to watch lesbian porn. But I will say we are heightened sexual beings. There's nothing simplistic about you know, the way we sex and the way we exist. You know, so and a lot of people want to feel that and tap into that.
What about going back to allyship, right? We seen in the people.com with Wayne Brady that his wife, or wife spoke out and said like him coming out, she's happy that, you know, that he's happier and that he's freer. So talking about allyship, what do you think the role of those kind of people who are allyships, former lovers, it's not this now, you know, Angela Bassett, burn your car and stuff when you come out and say, hey, I might be sexually attracted to something else that is not you. We're not seeing that as well no more. We're seeing, okay, a little bit more embracing or them being an allyship. How do y'all feel about that?
Some women are saying, some women are recognizing, hey, this man is attracted to men. This man married me to fulfill whatever his family or whatever he was told to feel, whatever. This man was not able to be himself. A woman that was married to a man for 10, 20 years and truly loves him and truly learns and knows that man, knows that this man really is attracted to men. And he tried to fit a heterosexual normative to please like the world, but this is not who he is. This is not what he wants. This is not how he wants to exist.
Do you think it's more understanding other cultures? I think she was of Asian descent. So I think Wayne Brady's wife was Asian. So
Probably.
do you feel like it's maybe more accepted possibly in an Asian community or a Caucasian community more than it is?
Everything's more accepted outside of our community. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know in Asian communities, like the way they're raised up, very disciplined. So I don't really know how it is, but I do notice that the women in their community, the men that they're with, they kind of, a lot of times they look feminine. Like they carry the bags, like the shoulder bags, and they hold their man arm with his bag, and I see that, and I'm just like, you see that? Like, she's not looking at him as less of a man, you know, because he has a shoulder bag. It's just in our community, you know, people are ignorant when it comes to those things. So but I can say, yeah, maybe in other, you know, communities it is more acceptable.
I feel like outside of our community, anything outside of a thug is looked at as feminine.
It's disgusting.
I feel like black masculinity is probably one of the most police things ever. A black man can't do too much of anything without being scrutinized and being called.
Have you seen that TikTok video?
I go through it.
This boy, and I want to talk about that too, because we're going to talk about not just sexuality, we're going to talk about gender roles, right? There's a boy, he has this video on TikTok, right? He's in his house, and every time he goes to do something, this thing goes, gay.
I swear
gay. And he's like, I can't do nothing. I can't eat a glizzy. I can't with my bag like this. So I think that's how
it has me like that. I take the banana and I'm like, break it off and then eat it, because if I do this, people will be like, how you eating that banana like that? So I understand. It's like you can't do anything. If I laugh a little bit too much, it's like, you know, why I gotta walk around like this?
I was always faced with growing up, because I spoke very proper. I spoke like I wore a lot of Oscar. Like I didn't wear, at the time I wasn't a Nietzsche academic kid. I eventually rolled into it, but I was really into Ralph Lauren. So on my block, I'm in Brownsville, Brooklyn, I was automatically perceived that, before I even knew what gay was, it's like, they ordained me. Like, oh, that's you're gay. And I was
but secretly they live, right? They live secretly, even though they ordained you, they secretly live, because they watch people from the community, and they take our looks, things that we do, how we do things, and they go ahead and take it and they run with it. So, yeah.
Real quickly with gender roles, since you know you and I are not to leave the ladies out, like you and I are guys, right?
Yeah.
So I was having a conversation on Labor Day with one of my friends. We were talking about the gift and the curse of being masculine presenting and being from the community, right? And how those thugs or the people on the outside will do something like pull out a gun on us, where they might not do that to somebody else in the community where they feel like, oh, well, you know, they're less than, or I'm not gonna, you know, but to us, we would face a gun pull out, or they're gonna jump us, or like I've been jumped before. Like candidly, niggas rolled up and was like, yo, what's good, what's up? And I was like, what up? And I got jumped before. They didn't say at the end of the day, it wasn't until like the lady was like, yo, y'all know that boy's gay? And they were like, what? And then they dispersed because at the time, that's when the hate crimes were coming out. So other than that, before that, I want to ask you specifically, and then you being on like at least on the outside of looking at what you think about it. How do you feel about that being like not only like very masculine presenting, but like you understand what I'm saying? Like it look like
It's the story of my life.
Okay.
So when I wear certain things, people address me certain ways.
Okay.
So I changed my earrings because I was wearing hanging earrings, and I found that when I'm at work and they come into the office and they automatically label me, I can tell by their facial expression they adjust themselves to talk to me a certain way because of my glasses as well and the earrings. When I change my glasses and wear my other glasses and change my earrings, I notice the approach is different. So that is the story of my life with the masculine presenting. I go through it every single day. Even with being around cisgender women, if you laugh with them a little bit too much, then they start getting cute, calling you, you know, just being a little bit disrespectful. It's like, I'm just laughing with you. Yeah, like, you better watch yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, seriously, I gotta be telling my friends. I stopped talking to some people that I've been friends with for years because of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will not tolerate the disrespect, but it is the story of my life. That whole, it's true. The way that you present yourself is how people. It determines how they're gonna treat you.
Okay. And
It sucks.
On the heels of that, as a woman, like, how do you feel seeing that, or have you even witnessed anything like?
I feel like a lot of heterosexual men feel like gay men have an advantage over them, and when it comes to like getting jobs and housing and things like that, a lot of straight men feel like, you know, the gays are, you know, less threatening and the gays get more opportunities and things like that. So there is a divide, you know, on that level. And then we just have to go, it gets deep because it goes into like respectability politics, and it even goes all the way back to like slavery and the mindsets that we have to one up each other and you know, things like that. So a lot of our issues are bigger than sexuality.
It's bigger than the community. It's
all of that other stuff. It really, really is. And I'm going to say,
take a quick look at the LGBTQIA series Click by Ish Brown Productions.
Yo, what up, NYC? It's your boy Romeo C with the T on your morning wake up. I got all the tea on your hip hop and Hollywood scenes. But let's jump back as we get into this next hot single.
Alright, that's me, Romeo Christian, an openly black gay man living in the beautiful NYC. Now, living in New York City isn't all bright lights as it may seem. It can be a roller coaster.
I already seen you with the nigga. I got the calls, I got the emails, I got the text messages, I seen it all of mine. Nah, it's clear, it's over.
Switch sides, don't think right. My niggas get money, y'all niggas I get by. In the field through the day, hope I make it through the night.
But all in all, I have my best friends along with me for the ride. From college to adult life, we all have our problems, but at the end, it's nothing like having your best friends with you for the ride. Through the good, the bad, the ups and downs, we always ride or die for each other, through thick and thin. And with all of us together, we make the perfect click.
Woke up in the store, all blues, I be spinning. Niggas hit my phone for a loan, I be lending. And I start shit on my own, I be
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Random Thoughts, and this is the Response Talk Show. Don't go anywhere. You know why? Because we have a community highlight coming from the legendary Radio RAHEEM.
This is your boy Radio Ra, and today I am here with your community highlight. The spotlight today will be on Queen Jean. Queen Jean is a black transgender costume designer and LGBT plus rights activist based in New York City. She co-founded the Black Trans Liberation Protest to raise awareness about trans rights and condemn the ongoing violence against black transgender individuals. Jean is also dedicated to addressing the issue of homelessness within the trans community through her organization, Black Trans Liberation. In addition to her activism, she was a leader in the 2023 Queer Liberation March, advocating for unity and empowerment within the trans community. Queen Jean is a fearless advocate for trans liberation, making a significant impact in the fight for equality and justice. Highlights with your boy Radio Ra. Until next time, peace.
Stay tuned with more of the response as we have a random thought and final thoughts from Tia CARTA. You don't want to miss it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Random Thoughts, and this is the Response Talk Show. Earlier, we were talking a little bit about sexuality, and my random thought today is about acceptance versus tolerance. Don't nobody want to be tolerated. You have to walk into rooms in which you are accepted. So today's random thought is, when love is not being served, learn to get up from that table. That's the Random Thoughts. I'm Random Thoughts, and I have Random Thoughts randomly. This is the Response Talk Show.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up right here. And I just want to say that sexuality, period, we have so many different breakdowns of how we should identify and what category we should be in, pansexual, bisexual, when we really should just be comfortable with being who we are and being comfortable with who we are attracted to and what we like sexually. I think that we need to disconnect from what society says or what we see on social media. And we need to be comfortable totally with ourselves. That's the only way to true happiness. You will never experience true happiness trying to live up to the standards of society or social media or just your friends and family. You have to connect with what you identify with. And I hope that everyone who sees this resonates that just be who you are and do what feels good to you. That's really what matters, because when you leave this world and you try to please this person and uphold this standard, none of that will matter. None of these people will probably even contribute to your burial fund if you need that, if you don't have, life insurance. Get life insurance, please. But I'm just saying that to say, live your life, be happy, do what feels good to you, and that's what it's about, and I'm going to end on that because I feel like a lot of us are just on a spectrum. We don't fit in any box perfectly, and it just is what it is.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I am Brandon Thoughts.
I am Miss CARTA.
And this is your boy Radio Ra.
and this is the Response Talk Show. Make sure you tune in every Wednesday for an all-new episode right here at the Response Talk Show. Yeah.